the first class. First of all, welcome to HRM501, Section 2, on organizational behavior and leadership. My name is Munirul Ismail, and I'll be your faculty in this semester. I don't see record option.
Sir, cannot
Whiteboard,
hear you.
change loud, full screen, turn on caption, record problem reviews. For that, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim, but I can't find any record option. I don't know why. Is it possible for someone else to record it? Can one of you record this lecture? Any volunteers? Is there any student present who will be able to record it? No one? Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Am
sir.
I audible?
Yes, sir. Sir, we can see the record option either.
Okay. Can anyone record this class? Can you
Sir,
see
we
the
don't
record
see
option?
Students can
No,
record.
sir.
Samia, can you see the?
No, sir, can't see the record option.
Sir,
Possible for
only
you to
Gold
record?
can
Anyone?
record this.
Find the record option here. Okay, can you see the slide?
No,
Can
sir.
you all see the slide?
No, sir.
No, sir.
No, sir.
Is this slide visible?
No, sir. No, sir. Sir, can you disconnect your call and then rejoin here again? No, sir.
No, sir.
Can you see this now?
No, sir.
Ladies and
No,
gentlemen,
sir.
can you see?
No, sir. No, sir.
Okay, can you see the slide now?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay,
Yes, sir.
wonderful. Now, slide is visible? Okay,
Yes,
wonderful.
sir.
Okay, so welcome to the class on organizational behavior and leadership. This is the introductory class, and I'll also cover a chapter today. I'll brief you about the entire course, the lectures, the subjects that I'll cover, what are the events that will take place, and how we should go about this semester. As I said, my name is Munirul Islam Akam. I'll be your faculty for this course. Unfortunately, we have to take the classes online, at least initially. I don't know subsequently if we'll be allowed to take class in the university campus. So this is me. Can you see me and my family? Is that visible?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so I'm serving in Bangladesh Army. Teaching is my passion. I was posted to USA for 3 years back in 2010 to 13. So I took that opportunity. I was working for US Central Command, headquarter US Central Command. And I took the opportunity to do an MBA there from University of South Florida. It's a reputed public university. And when I returned to Bangladesh, um, as a hobby, I started teaching in different universities. Currently, I sometimes take classes in North-South University and then BRAC University and other universities. So this is me, my wife, my daughter, my son, and this is my grandson. I've become a grandfather also. Although I look too young and handsome, do I look like a nana to anyone? I'm sure
No,
not.
sir.
No, sir.
No, sir.
So this is my bro sitting on my lap, and so you really enjoy this course. I have more than 30 years of service in Bangladesh Army, and I have worked in many places, in many capacities. I commanded. I'm an infantry officer. I commanded infantry brigade, infantry battalion. I've served abroad many times. I did 2 UN missions, one in Bosnia back in 1996-97, and I did 2 years training in Turkey when I was a young major. I can speak, read and write the Turkish language. In fact, 1 year I learned the language and 1 year was training. I did my second UN mission in Liberia, in Africa. And again, I trained in Malaysia for more than 10 months, and I've been to many other places. So I'll share all the stories, all the personal experiences that I've encountered throughout my life. Like I'll try endeavor to make the subject easy for you by giving a lot of examples, and it'll be easy for you to assimilate. I joined the Bangladesh Military Academy in 1986. I was commissioned in 87, and I served in many places. This is my academic result. I usually don't show that, but since I'm from the military, so that you don't undermine me, I have enough knowledge on organizational behavior, at least more than you, capable of teaching, and I've been teaching this subject for last 10 years. So, fortunately, I'm fortunate. Unfortunately, I got a first division in during our time. It was division in HSC, SSC, and BSc, and I have 3 master's degree, including the MBA in USA. Currently, my PhD is nearing completion. I just have the dissertation that I have to submit. I'm doing it from Shah Jalal University. On the topic is CSR, Corporate Social Responsibility Practices by Private Banks of Bangladesh. I love traveling. My entire family loves traveling. I've been to almost 60 countries around the world. We always take the opportunity to travel whenever we get this opportunity. Even when we were in USA for 3 years, I think we have covered 40 states in 3 years. There are a lot of Bangladeshis living in USA their entire life, but they have not been to more than 4, 5, 6 states. But these are my major assignments abroad. Besides traveling, I have worked in these countries: Bosnia for 1 year. I've been to Kuwait, in Turkey for 2 years. China, I've been a number of times on a visit. Saudi Arabia, I forgot how many times. Malaysia, 10 months. Liberia, I was there for 1 year, and USA, I was there for almost 3 years. This is my cell number. I want all of you to note my cell number, and beneath that is my BRAC University email address. At the end of or after during this class, we'll select a captain for this section, and the captain will be responsible to open a WhatsApp group, and all of you will be added to this group, and subsequently will correspond. Anything that you need to share, ask me. We'll do it on the WhatsApp page. But individually, you can also contact me in this number. I prefer that you text me rather than call me, because particularly during daytime I remain busy. I'll not be able to answer your call, and usually I avoid unknown phone numbers. But if you send me a text, I can reply rather than giving me a call. These are the two textbooks, one reference book, one textbook. S.P. Robbins and Timothy A. Judge, 16th or 17th edition. And the reference book is John Newstorm and Keith Davis, 11th, 12th or 13th edition. Books are always good, and there is no end of learning. Within these 13 classes of 3 hours each, basically I'll be able to speak for 2.5 hours. It's not possible to cover the entire organizational behavior book. But I have selected the most important topics from this book, and then within that topic I've selected the most important points that I want you to teach. So for this course sake, you don't really need the book. My slides will be enough for you to complete the course. The exams, since it's online, it will be more conceptual in nature. You can open or have the PowerPoints printed in front of you. I don't mind. But you really have to listen to my lecture. You have to attend the classes, listen to my lecture to be able to answer the questions in the exams. Because most of the questions will be asking you to give examples, and what question is not, answer will not be a direct duplication of whatever is written in this slide. So you have to give some elaboration, you have to explain, and that elaboration or explanation you will not be able to do if you have not attended the class. I'll not go through the course description. Did I email you the course outline and the two presentations I'm giving today?
No,
Did you
sir.
receive that?
No, sir.
No, sir.
No, sir.
Okay. So, okay. Today after the lecture or even during the break, I'll email you the two PowerPoint presentations. The one on introduction to OB, and the next one is dynamics of people and organization. And I'll also mail you the lectures or one the subsequent classes. And I would expect that you go through the PowerPoint presentations and try to note down if something, any question that you have. And after you listen to my lecture, you can ask me the questions. I'll not go through the learning objective. I'll email it to you. You just can read it if you have any, query on that. Some of the chapters are quite lengthy, very brief, and other shorter chapters, maybe I'll cover 2 chapters in one class. Today I'll talk about dynamics of people and organization, how people are different individually, how organizations are different, different organizations are different. You can't compare Bangladesh Army with Bangladesh Police, with any civil corporations. Each organization have its own characteristics. Each people have its own characteristics, own personality.
Sir, won't you
So we'll talk
record the
about
class?
the differences. And I can't record it. I don't see this option of recording. That's why I was asking, because last class somebody did something and they tried to record it, and they did. They managed to record it. That's why I was asking that we'll address this in the next class. But for today, can anyone, you don't have to record this part. The next chapter you may have to record the exam, but dynamics of people and organization will be. So if anyone can, if anyone can record it in one way or the other, it will benefit the other students. You can explore the system, and I'll take about half the lecture on dynamics of people and organization. Can anyone record it?
Sir, we're not seeing the record option from our end too. There is no record option.
I'm also not seeing it here. I don't know why. Because I have initiated the lecture. I'm supposed to see the record option here. But in the other section that I'm taking, the same problem occurred and some student recorded it. I don't know how they have done it. And then I could circulate that record to all students. Is there anyone here who will be able to do that?
Sir, there is another option that they can screen record on phone, but they need to have ample of amount of storage in their phone for that, which I don't have. Otherwise, I would have recorded it.
So just be very attentive to today's class. What else can I say? I don't see any record option. Safe page is not recording. Where is the code? What we can do is, after I take the introduction class part, maybe someone can open a Google Meet page and send us the link, and maybe you'll have the record option then. How about that? Is there anyone who can do this? None is taking any initiative. Okay, then we'll continue like this. Okay, so there are 13 chapters that I'll cover. Second chapter will be communication. To me, communication is the most important skill that a manager needs. So we'll talk about different forms of communication and how you can improve your communication skill, which includes your written communication and your oral communication both. Third chapter that I'll cover is organizational culture. Today, in this millennium, there will be rarely an occasion where you'll work in an organization where everybody has come from the same culture. So, or same type of people working in an organization. So you'll have, gender workers, people from different religion, people with different food habit, people with different dress code, and you as a manager, you have to manage people coming from different cultures. So we'll talk about the types of culture, how to handle people coming from different cultural background as a manager. The fourth and fifth chapter is on motivation. Motivation is a seriously strong tool. Since birth, we have been motivated by someone. First of all, our mothers motivated us. Then our fathers, our siblings motivated us. Then we started going to school, having friends. Our friends motivated us. Our teachers motivated us. And as you grow older, your girlfriend or boyfriend motivates you. Now my wife motivates me. My wife started motivating me when I got married. Now my daughter motivates me, and I'm just waiting for the day my grandson will start motivating me. So it's a continuous process. It's a very strong tool. You can make people do things that you can't imagine through motivation. And if this motivation is positive, the world can be one. And if it's negative, lot of harm can be done. So we'll talk about different motivational concepts, and then in the 6th and 7th chapter, we'll talk about leadership. This is your bread and butter. As manager, all of you are leaders. You'll be managing people, you'll be leading people. So we'll talk about different approaches to leadership, and we'll then talk about some contemporary issues about leadership. Empowerment and participation. Very important aspects of management. In modern business concept, you have to empower your employees. You have to delegate responsibility. You have to ensure that everybody participates. Otherwise, the company will not grow, and the profit will not increase. So we talk about empowerment and participation, interpersonal behavior, how to behave with people individually or as a group. That's another very important quality of a manager, to be able to mix with different category of people, and refine your behavior as to how you behave with your boss, how should your behavior be with your colleagues and your employees, etc., etc. There are informal and formal groups in an organization. We'll talk about these groups, how they are different, and how these formal and informal groups should be handled. Team and team building, very important. There are rarely a job in the world where you have to work alone. So you'll always be a part of a team. Initially, you'll be a member of a team. Later on, you'll be the leader of a team. So particularly when you're a leader of a team, you have to know how to uh, build team spirit, how to run the team, so that company goals can be obtained. Employee stress and counseling. We undergo stress always. We are stressed at office, we are stressed at home, we are stressed on the road when we are stuck in the traffic jam. So stress is part of life. Sometimes you're more stressed, sometimes you're less stressed. And you have to handle this stress. You have to take stress seriously. You have to know when you are going through stress, because when somebody is stressed, their behavior changes and they don't realize it. So it's very important for you as managers to understand when you are stressed personally and when some of your employees are stressed, and how to handle it. Counseling is one of the best antibiotic medicine against stress. We'll talk about those in details. And then the final chapter will be about change. Change is inevitable. It will happen. A company cannot survive without changing, without adapting to the needs of the time. And you as managers will be the catalyst to implement this change. So, human naturally, a natural tendency of human being is to oppose change. We love status quo. We love the way life is now, and we are afraid of any change. We are afraid of uncertainty. But this is not right. Change is a must. Companies that do not change will never grow. So we talk about different aspects of managing change. These are the events that you take place. This is the distribution of marks during this course. Class attendance 10%. Since we are taking the online class, attendance, I'll redistribute some marks from here, because I don't really know whether you're actually sitting and listening. If you're just connecting and not listening, you'll suffer, because you'll not be able to answer the questions in the exam. Without listening to my lecture, it will not be possible for you to answer correctly. Reproduction of slides, you just get a 0 for them. So attendance, maybe I'll cater 10%, although I'm keeping a record of who is joining and who is not. There will be some homework and assignment. Maybe I'll allocate that 5% from attendance to here. We'll have 1 or 2 quiz. There will be a group presentation of 15 marks, and you'll form into groups having minimum 5 members, maximum 6 members, and you have to prepare a group presentation, and on a specified date you have to give this presentation. 15 marks for that, and it's a very important event. And I'll brief you in details about this group presentation, but in brief, you have to select a company and you have to study the OB practices of that company. And you have to identify the deficiencies, the things that are going wrong as per OB is concerned in that company. And then you have to recommend how they can improve the OB practices in that company. And in this group of 5 to 6 members, I want at least one member should be a working student who works for some company, and preferably you should select that company. Then you have access to some information that you may need for this presentation. And I don't know how many overseas foreign students we have in this section. If there is enough overseas students, I want each group to have one foreign student senior. You have to give a presentation of 15 to 20 minutes on your research. Each speaker or member has to speak, and you have to prepare a PowerPoint presentation and give the presentation the way I'm taking the class today. And since the semester is online, you don't have to prepare a paper, research paper, only a PowerPoint presentation and your presentation, live presentation. And the group will be given, each member of the group will be given the same mark. Average mark will be given to all. So in one group, nobody will get 100 and another person will not get 10. Everybody will get either 80 or 70 or 60 or 90, whatever it is. So it's a group performance, and you should try to ensure that all the speakers speaks well confidently, and the PowerPoint presentation is of that standard, and based on the entire presentation, you'll be graded. A midterm is of 25 marks and final exam is of 35 marks. And I may enforce some other changes as we proceed with the course. 100 marks here. This is the grading. You have to get 90 to get an A. In North-South University, you have to get 93 to get an A. 90 is also a very difficult mark to get. And in some universities I have taught where if you get 80 and above, you get an A plus. In Brack University, you don't even have an A plus. Just to get an A, you have to get a 90. And that is why, I've been in many interviews where they're hiring students or candidates having an MBA. And unless you have done an MBA in Brack University, North South, AIUB, IUB, and a few 4 or 5 universities, other private university MBA, we don't even call for the interview. That is why, because education standard or BUP, education standard or in IAB, IBA of course. So doing an MBA is not enough. Where you have done the MBA, that matters. And Brack University is one of the leading universities as per MBA program is concerned. That's why you have to score at 90 and above to get in here. And you see the rest of the marks here. And I think for the online classes, there is some other, as you enter the mark, automatically the mark comes. I think they have done something with that. Anyway, whatever you get, you get. Be assured that I'm not giving you any marks. Whatever you get is something that you have achieved. I'll mail you the PowerPoint presentation of today's class and subsequent 2 classes, and then I'll take the lecture. Although I couldn't record the class today, I'll ensure that subsequently we are able to record the class so that you can go through the lecture in your own time. But I expect you to go through the PowerPoint presentation before you join the class, so you have a fairly average idea on the lecture, and then you listen to my lecture, note down whatever I say, and at the end of the class you can ask me any questions that you have. Okay, and there will be some class activities, there will be some assignments. I'll talk about that subsequently. There will be no makeup exams. Makeup exams are very irritating for me. You'll have to prepare a separate set of questions. And usually those who attend the makeup class, because I'm annoyed, I'm angry with them, they don't really score the very good marks. But nevertheless, people can have emergencies. I may allow certain cases to have attend the makeup class for the midterm exam. For the final exam, there is no option of a makeup final exam, because final exam is held on the last class, and there is no other class to make up an exam. So if you miss the final exam, you miss this course. Midterm exam, however, I may allow some students, if it is absolutely necessary and urgent, I'll allow them to appear the makeup exam in the next class. And very serious cases, like your mother is really sick, you are very sick, or you're getting married on that day, or your fiance is getting married on that day, and you need to go and rescue her or him, something like this. If it's really serious, okay, I'll excuse you, but I try to avoid, makeup exams. No cell phones. Okay, in online you can have your cell phone, at least as long as it doesn't disturb me. In live classes, I did not allow students to have their cell phones out. Only one person was allowed to use the cell phone in class, and that was me. All the conversation during this semester will be in English. This is the month of February. I love Bangla Bhasha. We have sacrificed, given blood to keep this language alive. It's one of the richest language in the world. The literature in Bengali, many foreigners, Russians and other foreigners, have learned Bangla language so that they can read, Tagore, Nazrul, their literature in the original language that it was written. You see how much passion people have, and I think it is the 7th or 6th largest language in the world, even 5th, I think. First is, if you talk about Chinese, Arabic, in Hindi, English, Spanish, and then Bangla. So almost 350 million people speak that language. But as manager, English is the most important language for you. And to be successful as a manager, to climb up the ladder of success, you need to be good in English. Because if you're working for a reputed corporation or an office, you have international correspondence. You have to speak to people who doesn't understand Bangla. So in this course, all the conversations will be in English. Nobody's Angraj. I'm still learning English, but we should try to, only one person who is allowed to speak any language that he or she wants is me. So I may be speaking Bangla. Is there any foreign students in this class today present? Any foreign student? The last semester I had 10, 11. Any foreign student here? Nobody responds. I'm really surprised. At least somebody should say something.
Sir, I checked the participant list. I don't
Yeah.
think there is any foreign student.
I don't think there is any foreign student in this class. All the names look Bangladeshi. Munira Tanzim, Bangladeshi, definitely. Mahmudul Munir. Too many Munirs here. Munira and Munir, the second last and the last. And then Arthima Naznur. Arthima, beautiful name, different. Jannatul Kabir, Kaji Ashrafur Rahman, Anha Sultana, another French foreigner here. Good. Then in that case, I will be able to speak Bangla time to time. Not you, me only. Ushra, Safir Zawad, Shudit Zahid Hassan, Tawfiq. Anyway. I in fact note down if anybody, students that participate, and you get some impression mark from me. Almighty has given us 2 ears and 1 mouth. That's a clear indication that we should talk half and listen double. So only one person will talk at a time. Either I'm talking, you all are listening, or one of you are talking and we are all listening. This is an online class, so I don't really see what you're wearing. But in live classes, I expected all students to come smartly dressed in the class. You should be smartly dressed as a manager. Managers are always smart, and smartly dressed does not mean that you'll put on a tie and a sherwani or a sari and things like that. Simple clothes can also be worn smartly. There's a gentleman who was knighted by the queen, and he went to receive the knighthood wearing a lungi, and he was looking pretty smart. Anybody knows who that is? I just forgot his name. So, you should be smartly dressed. And in this online class, you can be unsmartly dressed also. But sometimes I'll ask particular name, and I may ask you to turn on your camera. So even if you're not smartly dressed, at least be dressed. Okay. So we have to select a captain today, and I told you about opening a WhatsApp group, and all should remain connected. Okay. That's all about the introduction. Any volunteer for a captain to become the captain of this class? Any volunteer?
Sir, I want to share something with you. Sir, I have tried to start a meeting, but there is no record option. So maybe there is a problem in Google for that we didn't get the record option now.
Maybe that's why I'm not getting it.
Yes, sir.
But sir, we badly
Sir,
use the
as far
recorded
as I
lecture.
know, record option is only available for the host.
Excuse me?
So record
Yeah,
option
host.
is only available for the host.
I know,
Who is
but
yes,
Yes,
sir,
I
but
have-
we are not the
I
host.
have tried. Tried to get a
Separately.
meeting as a host, but there is no option. So maybe there is a problem in Google.
Yeah, I think there's a problem in Google because I'm sure Anha opened another link. She tried to open another meeting room,
Yes,
but
sir.
there also
Yes,
she's
sir.
not getting any record option like me. So, but this lecture is okay, but for the subsequent lecture, you need this record because before the exam, you need to go through that. But if you keep a proper note of my lecture, that should be enough. If you briefly write down the examples that I give and briefly note down the explanations, that should be enough. But we have to address this before the next class. But in the other section, a student managed to record it and he also circulated. But unfortunately, in this class, nobody has that ability. Okay. Anyway,
Yes, sir. He used a recording option. He's having a record option in his laptop. So by that he did so.
can you do it?
No, sir. I have no idea about it.
Okay. Okay. Now, is there anyone who wants to be the captain? Any volunteers? Is there anyone who volunteers to be the captain of this class?
Sir, I can.
Okay.
Okay. Anha and Sylvia Zerin. I think there are two volunteers. Okay. Before that, I just want to give you an information. I've been teaching for so many years, and I don't remember any of my captain getting less than an A in the course. Maybe one or two. So you tend to grow a soft corner for the captain. Others are unfortunate that you did not volunteer. So I'll take Anha and Sylvia both. Can you give me your Anha? What you do is you text me. You have noted down my cell number.
Yes, sir.
Okay, give me a text, and then I'll read out. Okay, you read out your number loudly so that others can um, note down your number.
Okay, sir.
Bolo
It's
dekhi tomar number kya?
0101620
Zero
344138.
620
01620
344 13.
344138.
Okay. Let me repeat 01620344138. Okay, she has also written it down. So after this class, I want all of you to text your cell number to Anha. Tomake ki Anha ডাকবো?
Yes, sir.
Or Sultana? Okay. So all the students will text their cell number to you, and you'll open a WhatsApp group. And the name of the group will be HRM501/2. And if you can add spring, that will be better. And then we'll have subsequent correspondence on that. And testing.
Sir,
Yes.
sir, I just created a meeting with my Bracky email. There I can record the meeting.
You can.
Yes, sir. With my
Check.
Bracky email.
Shakia Israt.
Yes, sir.
Okay. What কি Google Meet?
জি স্যার, ব্র্যাকের ইমেলটা দিয়ে মিটে গিয়ে ক্রিয়েট করলে স্যার তখন রেকর্ড করা যাচ্ছে।
আচ্ছা, আমি কি তাহলে ব্র্যাক দিয়ে কি শুরু করি? আমি ব্র্যাক এমএলটা কিভাবে এটা মিটটা ওপেন করতে হয়?
স্যার ব্র্যাকের স্যার এইভাবে নরমাল সেম ওয়েতেই এখানে
স্যার
যেটা
আপনার
করেছেন
যে
সেটা
ব্যাকের ইমেলটা অফিশিয়াল ইমেলটা আছে ওটাতে ট্রাই করে দেখেন।
জি স্যার ওটাতে হচ্ছে স্যার।
আচ্ছা, ওইটা ওপেন করলাম, ওপেন করে এখান থেকে তারপরে আমি গুগল মিট ওপেন করব কিভাবে?
স্যার ওখানে সেটিংস এর একটা অপশন আছে না স্যার, যে রাইট সাইডে ডট ডট,
হ্যাঁ হ্যাঁ
ওখানে গিয়ে স্যার মিট,
হ্যাঁ হ্যাঁ কারেক্ট।
মিটের ওখানে
ওখানে কি
গিয়ে
দিব?
স্যার স্টার্ট আ মিটিং।
মিট দিব না?
জি স্যার।
ওই যে মিট।
জি স্যার।
ও আচ্ছা, এখানে নতুন একটা কোড দিতে হবে নাকি?
জি স্যার, ওখানে আপনি একটা যদি নিউ,
আমি কি আগের কোডটা দিয়ে, আগে যে কোডটা দিয়েছিলাম ওটাই দিতে পারবো?
না স্যার মনে হয় নিউ কোড দেওয়া লাগবে। স্যার আপনি নাম দিতে পারবেন
না,
যে
আমি দেখি তো আগেরটা দিয়ে হয় কিনা।
বাট আপনি নিউ ভাবে ক্রিয়েট করলে ওখানে
হ্যাঁ
রেকর্ড করা যাবে।
আমি একটু ওইটা দিয়ে দেখি তো হয় কিনা।
জি স্যার।
meet.google.com কি জানি ছিল, xrc-ujjt-zhm না, হচ্ছে না তো।
স্যার নতুন ক্রিয়েট করা লাগবে মিটিং।
ভুল করলাম না মনে হয়। তুমি শিওর?
স্যার আমি
নাই তো
নতুন
হইছে।
ক্রিয়েট করেছি বাট তখন আর কি রেকর্ড করা যাচ্ছে, একটা অপশন আসছে আমার।
দাঁড়া দেখি তো, আমি অপশন করতে ask to join। থেকে খেয়াল করেন নাই যে we are shifting here?
Sir, is the record option available now?
It's not supposed to be with me.
Yes sir.
It's supposed to be with Sakia. Sakia, is it
Yes, sir.
available?
Yes sir.
আচ্ছা, তুমি একটা কাজ করো, যে ওখান থেকে যে আমরা আউট হয়ে গেলাম ওখানে আবার কেউ রয়ে গেছে নাকি?
স্যার আমি তো ওটা লিভ দিয়ে দিয়েছি।
হ্যাঁ
স্যার আমি তো ওই মিটিংটা লিভ দিয়ে দিয়েছি।
আচ্ছা, let me see if anybody is still there or not. Some of you are still here. You should go and join the other group. Samia, Nasheed, Arnab, Mahim.
So where is the link given?
Have you got the link?
So in the message section.
Let,
Yes, I got.
please shift to that link. I'm waiting for you there. If you're still in this page, please go to the other page. I've written Mahim, Munira, Mahabub, Bushra, Samia. Please move to that group. Pratiti, you have to go to the other page. Mahabub, Munira, and Mahim, Samia.
Sir, I can't find any link here.
The link is QMQ-S. I've written it in the text. See the message.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir.
Munira, can you move there? And Mahim. Mahim, I think, has opened the laptop and left.
স্যার আমি
Okay.
হোয়াটসঅ্যাপ গ্রুপে শেয়ার করে দিয়েছি লিংকটা, সো
Okay.
মাহিম
Okay.
অ্যাড আছে, ও দেখে ফেলবেন।
Okay, ঠিক আছে। আমরা so here you can record and this part you can start recording if you want.
স্যার আমি আরেকটা কথা শেয়ার করতে চাচ্ছিলাম যে আমি চ্যাটে হোয়াটসঅ্যাপ গ্রুপের লিংকটা দিয়ে দিয়েছি, সো যারা জয়েন করতে চান জয়েন করতে পারেন।
Okay.
স্যার রেকর্ডিং স্টার্ট হয়েছে।
Okay, can you see this slide?
ইয়েস স্যার।
Can you see? Okay. Introduction to organizational behavior, dynamics of people and organization. Why we learn OB? We learn OB because people are different and we behave differently. Even if we are siblings, upon bhai bon, still our personality differs. Identical twins also behave differently. Twins who looks exactly the same, only the mother can differentiate. But if you ask them to talk and if you observe them for a while, you'll find that they are different people. Even in the animal world, if you see a bunch of puppies, if you observe them for a while, you see that the puppies are different. They have different personality, you know. One is a bossy sort of aggressive, one is sleepy, one is playful, one is, you know, sick. So yeah, even in the animal world, they have different personalities. What to talk about human beings? So, and human beings' personality differs the most. We are the most difficult, group of living beings that can be managed. And as manager, you have to deal and handle people with different personalities. That is why we have to learn OB, organizational behavior. This will teach you how to handle people with different personalities, and the medicine will also be different. You know, if you have fever, you take a paracetamol. If you have, you know, some other illness, there is a prescribed medicine for that. But as a manager, you don't have a specific prescription. You don't have a specific medicine. For the same crime done by two employees, the punishment will be different. The solution will be different because they are different people. So that is why OB is so important. Our personality differs. Our source of motivation also differs. As I said, motivation is a very strong tool, and we are being motivated by different people, different organizations throughout our life. We are motivated by our religion. We are motivated by our country, by our culture. There are so many things that motivate, and the sources are also not same. Some are motivated by teachers, by parents, by relatives, by friends, by your religion. So the source of motivation is also different. And there is no religion in the world where telling a lie is wrong, stealing is wrong, killing is wrong. So the common ethics in all religion of the world is same. You just have to be a good human being. But it is the misinterpretation of religion that actually puts us in problem. It's a necessity that you have to work as a member of a team. As I said, there is rarely an occasion where you'll be working alone. A pilot flying an aircraft, he can't fly an aircraft alone. He has his co-pilot, he has his flight engineers, the navigators, he has the air hostesses, the cabin crews to help him out. So it's a team effort. In sports and except individual games like golf or tennis, even there also you have coaches, you have people who teaches you. In very rare occasion where you'll be working alone. So we have to know how to work as a good team member. And as you're doing an MBA, so those of you who are working, you already have people working under you, and in the future others who will be joining a job, maybe initially you will have less number of people working for you, and as you become more senior managers, more people will be working under you. So it will be a necessity for you to manage people. That is your bread and butter. My bread and butter is managing people. People till recently means maybe 3, 4, 5 decades back, there was a concept that if you're intelligent, if you have technical skill, that is the only thing that you need to become successful. People did not know much about interpersonal skill, but people have realized, philosophers, think tanks have realized that in fact to become a successful manager, your interpersonal skill is in fact more important than your technical skill. Technical skill is important. You as manager, you must have the most the maximum amount of knowledge on that particular section that you're managing. But your interpersonal skill, how to manage people, that is the more important for you to succeed as a manager. And if you can understand human behavior, you'll be able to become an effective manager. And throughout this course, I'll give you so many examples of how people behave differently, and the medicine and the cure will also be different. In the initial phase of your career, salary will become the most important aspect for you to choose where you want to work. Money will seem to be very important to you. But as you grow older, you don't have to grow old. After a couple of years, you'll realize that there are more important aspects about a job than the salary itself. Whether you are properly respected in the workplace, whether the bosses treat you well, whether there are other compensations, incentives given besides the salary, many things will be taken into account. You have to take into account while deciding where you want to work. In the Western world, I lived in USA for 4 years when I was a child with my parents. My late father was doing his PhD again in Florida. I lived there from 1976 to 80. I'm sure none of you were born there. I studied from 5, 6, 7, 8 when I was a child, and then later I went to USA back with my family. And in the Western world, people will choose where to work, not only the cash money salary that they get, but the other benefits that they get. and the environment in which they are working. Whether they will sponsor higher education, whether they will give health insurance, club membership. There are so many types of benefits that they will give. Because when you start working, basically you will spend most of your awake time with your colleagues in your office. And except weekends and holidays, you will hardly get time to spend with your family. So your colleagues and your working environment is actually will become your home. They will become your family members. And if you don't enjoy your work, if you don't enjoy the company of the people that you're working with, life doesn't have much value. Money is not everything in life. So it's very important that you work in an environment where you have satisfaction and you have support from the individuals that you're working with. I'll talk about few definitions. These are basic definitions. I'm sure you know these definitions, or you have read it, studied it when you took the principles of management or marketing management class. But just to refresh your memory and to make understanding easier, I'll touch upon certain definitions before I go into the depth. Organization, very very simple, a systematic arrangement of people brought together to accomplish some specific purpose. So this is a systematic arrangement of people, and they are given a particular purpose. Bragg University is an organization. Here they have arranged systematically. They have arranged certain group of people, and the purpose is to provide quality education. It may not be cheap quality education, but it's a quality education. And they have organized people. How there are a group of people, faculty members who teach us, people in the management. You have people who are security guards protecting the campus. You have IT people organizing all these links and all that. You have cleaners who washes the rooms and cleans the toilets and all. And apparently it seems that the faculty are the most important member of Bragg University. Of course, they are very important, but other members are also important. However good the faculty members are, but if the cleaners do not do their job, if they do not keep the classrooms clean and hygienic, if they don't clean the toilets, there will not be a good environment where we'll be able to learn. If the security guards do not perform their job and they sleep while they are on duty, and at night people will come in and steal the PowerPoint projector and the computer, and next day will not be able to take the class. So this is what is an organization. You have different group of people, and they are given certain responsibility, and all the responsibilities are important. Maybe their status is different, but the job is important, and they are given a purpose, which is to provide quality education. The cleaner and the security guard and the management and the finance people, they don't impart quality education, but they ensure they create the environment where quality education can be delivered. An organization has three common characteristics. Number one, it will have distinct purpose and goal, as I said, provide quality education. It must have number of people, the faculty member and all the staffs of Bragg University, the students of Bragg University. And it must have a systematic structure. It has a building, it has office room, it has a library, it has classroom, it has a canteen, common area, etc. etc. Although the campus is in a very crowded area, I heard that Bragg University is planning to contemplate shift to a better location. Management, again, simple definition, is the business, and organization is the function that coordinates the effort of people to accomplish goals and objectives using available resources efficiently and effectively. So management in business and organization is that the function that coordinates the effort of many people, and everybody is trying to accomplish a specific goal. How they achieve this specific goal? By using available resources, and they use these resources efficiently and effectively. Efficiently and effectively in English language sounds alike, but it has different connotation. I'll talk about efficiency and effectively in the subsequent lectures. And you have to use available resources. If it's a Bragg University, I cannot go to Shunargaon Hotel and take class there, because that is not the resort that I have under Bragg University. I have to take class in the Bragg University classroom. I have to, the best, and I cannot bring ask Donald Trump to take us a class on organizational behavior, because he's not a part of he's not within the resource of Bragg University. So you have to use the available resources to be able to accomplish the goal. You are managers. Managers are people who manages people, who tells others to do what has to be done. The success of a manager is if they are able to get the things done by others. They don't have to do it by themselves. Of course, they will have to do a part of the job, but a manager's credit is to get the job done by others. Management has four basic functions. This is not actually part of organizational behavior, but it's very important for you to recapitulate these aspects before I go into the detail of organizational behavior, because OB has direct connection with the functions of management and the other techniques that the manager needs to know. So a manager has four basic functions: planning, organizing, leading, and controlling. Simply planning is you need to plan what has to be done, how it can be done, and the higher level manager you are, you'll be more involved in planning. Lower level managers are less involved in planning, rather they are more involved in leading rather than planning. Organizing is allocating tasks to individuals. Now, if you're a manager and you have certain things that needs to be done, and you have 10 employees working under you, whom you task to do what, that is what is organizing. Redistributing the task among the employees. And you as a manager, you have to know who is the best person to do what job. Leading and directing is, to motivate and direct and communicate and resolve conflict. You have to lead them, you have to direct them, you have to tell them how it has to be done, you have to teach them. And conflict management would be a major function that you will be involved in. When you become a manager, we tend to have conflicts with each other. And you as a manager have to spend a considerable time of your working hour in resolving this conflict. This will continue. And you as a manager, you have to handle this rightly, correctly, and you have to resolve it. Control is monitoring. You as manager, you have given somebody some task, you have asked somebody to do something, and just by telling him or her once will not suffice. In between, you have to interfere and get the progress to ensure whether things are being done properly. Now, if you have told someone to prepare, 100 fried eggs, cook 100 fried eggs in 3 days, so that individual need to fry 33 eggs per day at least to cover the 100 fried eggs in 3 days. So every day you have to take an account whether 33 eggs have been fried or not. Because if you wait till the last moment, you may find that that individual is falling behind schedule. So controlling is monitoring. So these are the basic functions that you'll be doing as a manager, and I'll relate this with OB functions activities subsequently. There are certain skills that the manager must have. Technical skill, very important, although it is not the most important skill. But if you're a manager of a particular section, you have to know about that section more than anybody else. Otherwise, your employee will undermine you. They'll not respect you. You'll not get that honor. And you cannot just be born or join an office and become a manager or something. You have to go through that channel. And you should have the maximum experience on that particular job compared to other employees working under you. Human interpersonal skill, I think this is the most important skill. You have to work well with people, with group of people, and it's important at all levels: lower level, mid level, and high level. Conceptual skill, think and conceptualize about abstract complex situation, important at top level. Conceptual skill is important at all levels, but maybe more important at top level. You as manager, you are not a post office. You have a brain. You have to think, and you have to read your boss's mind. You have to visualize what may happen in the future and take action accordingly. There was a king in one country, and he had a servant. That servant came to the king one day and complained that, Hujur, Maharaja, king, my king, I serve you with loyalty and honesty, and I've been serving you for last 20 years. and I work for you 18 hours a day from morning to late night, and you only pay me 5 gold coins per month. But your prime minister, he works only 8 hours a day for you, and you pay him 100 gold coin per month. Why this difference? The king replied that, okay, I'll reply your question, but I have something for you to do. Yesterday night I could not sleep. I heard some animals screaming at night. Can you go and check and let me know what happened? So the servant went out. He came back after 5 minutes and said that, yes, sir, your cat gave birth to certain kittens, some kittens yesterday night. That's why the cat was making this sound. And the king said, very good, I'm very happy. How many kittens were born? And the servant said, I have to go back and count. So he went back and counted and came back and said that 4 kittens are born. And the king asked, how many male kitten and how many female kitten? And the servant said that I did not see that. Let me go back and come back. So he came back again after 5 minutes and said that, 2 male and 2 female kittens. And then the king said, what is the color of the cats? And the servant said that I have not seen, let me go back and check. And he went back and said that 2 black and 2 white. And every question the king was asking, he went back, but accurately he could give the answer. And then he told the king told the servant, okay, wait, call the prime minister. So he called the prime minister, and the king told the prime minister that yesterday night I could not sleep. Some animal was making some sound. Can you please investigate and let me know? And the prime minister went out, and he came back after 10 minutes and said that, my king, yesterday at 2:30 a.m. in the morning, your white cat gave birth to 4 kittens, 2 male, 2 female, 2 white, 2 black. All the 4 kittens are fine. The mother cat is also fine. One kitten looks a bit weak, and currently they are located in the basement of the house. And then the king looked at the servant and said, see, that is why I pay him 100 gold coins a month, and you are paid only 5 gold coins a month. So you as manager, you are the prime ministers. You have to have the answer to all the questions, and you have to think ahead. You must be able to read your boss's mind. You must be able to conceptualize. You must be able to see something and be able to, describe it. I don't know if any of you have attended the ISSB, Inter-Service Selection Board, to join as an officer in the armed forces, Army, Air Force, or the Navy. As a part of the ISSB curriculum, you have to attend a psychological test. And in that psychological test, a part of, I remember when I appeared the ISSB, in that a part of the psychological course, you'll be shown certain obscure pictures. And you have to write a story, a 1-paragraph story based on those pictures. For example, when I appeared, I remember 2 such pictures. One was, there was a guy who was trying to climb up a window in the 2nd floor by using a rope. He was climbing using a rope and going to the window of the 2nd floor. And you have very less time. You have to see the picture and write a small story. Now, many stories, and seeing your story, the psychologist will be able to assess what type of mentality you have. So seeing that picture, many stories could be written. Number 1, he's a lover boy. He's going to meet his girlfriend. His girlfriend is waiting upstairs, and she sent the rope down. He's going up to meet her. Number 1. Number 2 is somebody can write that he's a thief. He's climbing up the window. He'll go and steal all the valuables from the house, and that is his regular job. What I wrote is that he is a valiant freedom fighter. He's risking his life, and he's trying to climb up to the window to listen to the meeting of the enemy commanders, what they are deciding. And based on that information, he will launch an attack on the enemy. So you see, there are the second picture that was shown, I remember, there were many others. There was a boy and a girl who was holding his hand and holding their hands, and it seems that they are walking in a garden or something. So many stories can be based on that they are lovers, and their parents have not agreed to their marriage, so they are flying you away to the, what is that? Where you can get married, ki bole otake? To do court marriage, they are going to the lawyer, or you can say that they are students of Dhaka University Zoology Department or Botany Department. They have gone on an excursion, and they are walking in the garden, trying to identify the trees, different plants. So a story can be, a picture can bring out many stories, and they try to understand your way of thought, your mentality through the stories that you write. So you as manager, you must be able to interpret the picture in the right perspective. That is what is expected out of a manager. You must have the political skill, political. Being a Bangladeshi, anything related to politics seems to be not very good. It's not a very good favorite word that we use. It always sounds very negative. But here, political skill is a very important skill for managers to have. And this indicates political skill. In fact, I took a 2-credit course on political skill when I did my MBA in USA. And political skill means your ability to influence other people. And you try to or exert your influence on other people so that people listens to you. And that you can't do by giving money or by threatening their lives or showing a pistol or a gun. This has to be done through your, articulation, the way you talk. You have to attract people. People must be attracted towards you naturally. Not that you are their manager, but they must have that inner respect, and that can be achieved if you are a good human being. If you're the most, if you are impartial to all the employees that works under you. So political skill is a very important skill that a manager should have, and diagnostic skill, be able to find out the right solution or dose. Now, if like a doctor, you see the patient and you give medication. As manager, also you're a doctor. You face a crisis, a problem, and then you try to find out a solution to that. Okay. Now, what is organizational behavior? I'll just read through the first definition. It is the systematic study and careful application of knowledge about how people as individuals and as group act within organization. So organizational behavior is the systematic study of the knowledge about how people as individual and as group act. So people act differently as an individual, people act differently as a member of a group. And organizational behavior is the study of how these people work or react or act, being individual or being a member of a group. That is what is organizational behavior. There are many opportunities of OB. That is why OB is so important. Number one, it improves people's skill. You become a better, more capable human being if you study organizational behavior, if you practice organizational behavior. Number two, it improves the quality and productivity of your company. When Apple started with iPhone 1, it actually started with iPod, and it went to iPad, and I series came to iPhone, and then there was iPhone 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Currently 11 is ongoing. I use an iPhone 8. iPhone 8. When I got it, I think a couple of years back. It was the latest phone. Today is almost obscure. My children, undermine me because I use this phone, because they are having an iPhone 11. And Apple did not sleep by producing the iPhone 1. They continue to bring in new model, new facilities, new apps. And today their iPhone 11 is in the market. Again, it has 3 versions. Because the market is highly competitive today. Other companies, phone companies, are producing new phones, and you have to upgrade and bring a better model in the market. Otherwise, you lose customers. And this is how companies are competing with each other. I remember back in 2011, I was in USA, and we went out for dinner, me and my daughter and my son, my wife, and after dinner we were driving home, and I think it was 10:30 in the evening. And in Tampa, or in most USA, most of the shopping malls, closes by 7:30. So naturally, I was expecting all the shops to be closed by the time we started driving home. The restaurant that we went to have dinner was about half an hour's drive from where I live. When we drove out of the parking lot of the restaurant and we passed by a Best Buy shop. Best Buy, I'm sure you know, they sell electronics, produced by Apple, Samsung, and other companies, and you get all the electronics there. It's a very common chain store, Best Buy. And we passed beside a Best Buy shop, and I saw, surprisingly, about 50, 60 people. The store is closed, it's dark, but 50, 60 people standing outside the Best Buy store. And they're talking to each other, laughing, and some of them are having coffee, and some tents erected, choto choto tabu, in the parking lot. And I was surprised. Why? What people are doing at 10:30 at night? But we continued driving, and after 5-10 minutes, we are passing through another electronic shop where there was another 50, 60 people who were standing and doing the same things. And then I asked my wife, "Can we stop? I'm very curious. Otherwise, I'm very inquisitive individual. I'm very curious to know why these people are standing there." And she said, "Okay, no problem, stop." So I entered the parking lot, and I walked over to, I remember, a pretty young girl with a blonde hair. And I asked her, "What are you doing here at this hour? Why so many people are here?" And she replied that tomorrow, iPhone 4S, it is not even iPhone 4S, version of iPhone 4S, iPhone 4S will come to the market tomorrow morning. And we know that how many piece each store has. We found out. And for example, this store has 60 iPhone 4S to be sold. So we came and we will camp throughout the night. And when the store opens in the morning, we'll buy the iPhone 4S. And I want to be the proud owner of iPhone 4S on the first day. For that pride, we are spending the whole night here. We'll camp so that I can buy an iPhone 4S tomorrow morning. So these entire group of people were standing, and they'll stay awake throughout the night, or maybe sleep a few hours in the tents, makeshift tents, so that in the morning when the store opens, they can buy a iPhone 4S and become the owner of this set the first day it came to the market. So that is what is competition. That is what is Apple. That is what is Steve Jobs. I can talk about Steve Jobs for hours together. I can take a 10 credit course on Steve Jobs. And individually, he had some problem. He was very short-tempered. He was a perfectionist and all that. He used to misbehave, but he was a man of quality. And things that he has done. He started Apple. He was kicked out and went to Pixar cinema and created movies like Toy Story and others. And then again, he was begged and brought back to Apple. And then he started creating this I-series phone. And that is why quality. That is why Apple is still the one of the largest companies in the world. Aki's Biri, Bangladesh, is to produce biri, very poor quality cigarettes without any filter. And it was very popular in the village. Poor people used to smoke that. But now the buying capacity of Bangladeshis have improved. Even a rickshaw puller or a poor man smokes, filtered cigarettes. So Akis shifted from those biris into better quality cigarettes because they need to hold the market. So, improving quality and productivity, and then you have to, Apple cannot complete the demand. When iPhone 11 came in, it was a struggle to get iPhone 11. Again, a struggle if you have any choice about the color of the phone and all that. And they cannot, the demand was more than, what was available in the market. And OB helps in improving this quality and productivity. Managing workforce diversity, very important. You have to behave differently with different category of people working under you. You'll have male workers, female workers, you'll have people from other culture, other religion, and you as a successful manager must be able to work with this diversified working environment group. Responding to globalization, global is a flat world today. There is rarely a business which does not spill over the border, and you have to, respond to global need. A crop being, damaged by insects in a part of the world, or because of drought less harvest of grains, hundreds and thousands of miles away from your own country, which subsequently impact you because it's a global world. Anything happening anywhere, the effect will impact you. And business, there is no border in the business community. Empowering people, I said how important it is. Let me share another story about empowering people. When I first went to USA with my family, maybe a week after I arrived, we decided to go to a shopping mall. And we went to a Macy's out there. I'm sure you have heard of Macy's. It's one of the largest shopping mall chains in USA. And if you enter a Macy's, there's hardly anything there that you can't buy. It has wardrobe, clothes for children, for men and for women. There are toiletries, shoes, suits, jewelries, luggage, suitcase, anything that you want. Except that maybe you can't buy a wife there or a husband there, but rest anything that you want, you can buy there. So we entered the Macy's, and I was looking for a blazer, so I went to the men's section. I identified a blazer, and I bought it. My daughter, my son, they were in the sports section. I don't know where they were. My wife went to the cosmetics department and the jewelry department, and we bought whatever we wanted, and we came home. Ladies particularly, when they come home from shopping, the first thing they do is they go to the washroom, freshen up, and then they open the boxes and try to assess whether they have done the right shopping, whether whatever they have bought, was it worth it, was the price right, was it beautiful, and they'll keep on asking others. And if you're a husband, you have to say you have done it's a beautiful thing you bought and the price is very less. You cannot really contradict whatever she wants to listen. This is being conceptual, you have to be a manager at home. You have to understand what your wife wants to know or hear and react accordingly. So she came and she bought, out of many things, she bought 6 pair of earrings. 6 জোড়া কানের দুল কিনেছিল, এবং these earrings were not very expensive, maybe $15-20 maximum. So she opened the boxes, and to her utter surprise, she found that there were earrings in 5 boxes, but one box did not have any earring. Are you still with me? Can you hear me? Somebody to respond.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Many times it gets disconnected. I keep on talking, and I see that none of you are listening. So she found that one box did not have the earring, and সাথে সাথে তো তার জীবনটা অর্থহীন হয়ে গেল. Her life had no meaning because this one box did not have that earring, and she was not crying but about to cry. And I counseled her that don't worry, this is USA. Next time we go to Macy's, we take the voucher. We'll go and talk to the management and see what can be done. সেদিন রাতে সে খাওয়া দাওয়া ঠিকঠাক করতে পারে না. Anyway, I forgot the incident, and maybe after a month or so, forgetfully, we went to Macy's again, and I forgot about the previous incident totally because as we were entering the Macy's shop, my wife told me that I brought the voucher and I also brought the empty earring box. And then I said, my God, you did not forget. So I just told you to console you that day, but I cannot accompany you. I'm not your husband for the time being. You go and tell the manager whatever you want to tell. So she went to the counter from where she bought, within Macy's there is not a set counter. In every section there are counters, you can pay anywhere you want. And definitely the girl who sold her the earrings was not there. Even if she was there, she's not supposed to remember. And they have hundreds of people working and shift and changing. So I was sure that this lady will not be there. So I went, I stood in a distance, and I was trying to observe what my wife is doing. I saw that she went down to the counter, and I'm sure the lady was somebody else. And she talked to her for maybe 1-2 minutes, and then she turned back and she was moving towards the earring section. And I was again very curious to know what is happening. And then I walked down to my wife and I said, what happened? And she said that I told her that I bought this 6 pair, and 1 pair in one box, there was no earring. And she said, go to the earring section, go and bring me the earring that was not there, I'll give it to you. And I said, that is so easy. and she selected the earring and she brought it back to the counter, and this girl just packed it and gave it to her. And I was just waiting for her to give this to my wife. And when my wife put the box in her bag, then I asked that salesperson that, ma'am, what is the policy here? She just came and said that she did not get the earring in the box and you gave it to her. It's so easy. What is the policy that Macy's have? And she told me that Macy's have a policy that any claim below $50, any of the salesperson can dispose that. They can give the decision and then inform the authority. If the claim is from $50 to $500, we have to ask the manager of that branch, and the manager of the branch will give instant decision, and usually it is solved. If the claim is more than $500, we have to send an email to the corporate headquarters of Macy's, and within 72 hours they'll give you the disposal. And it's so easy. And you see, after that event, we stayed in USA for another 2.5 years, or almost 3 years. My wife spent minimum $20,000 in this Macy's in the next 20 years. If I wanted to go to a shopping mall, she only wanted to go to Macy's. You see, that $19 earring they have invested in my wife. By empowering that salesperson, then you can dispose that decision. And just because she gave her that earring, my wife fell in love with Macy's. And she had such confidence in Macy's, and she had that confidence that anything I buy from Macy's will be of the highest quality and will be of the cheapest price. And this is what is farsightedness. This is what is empowerment. Now, in Bangladesh, if you go to a shopping mall and you buy something, you come home and next day you go and tell them that I bought this bottle of mayonnaise, and after going home it was an empty bottle and there was no mayonnaise inside. You know what the salesperson will say? Salesperson will say that I cannot give this decision. I have to ask the Chief Justice of Bangladesh or Secretary General of United Nations to give you a free bottle of mayonnaise, because we are not empowered. Empowerment, expertise business, and futuristic companies, delegates responsibilities. Coping with temporariness. Temporariness is business is temporary. As Apple, from iPhone 1 to iPhone 11, every other year or every year a new model is being introduced. So business grows, new products are introduced, new models are introduced, and things changes. So whatever you are doing today, you're supposed to do something else next day and the day after. So in the corporate world, in the business world, everything that you produce, everything that you do are temporary in nature, because change will force you to create new items, improve older items, and you have to cope with this change. That is what is coping with temporariness. And only by studying and knowing and practicing OB, you'll be able to handle this temporariness. Stimulating innovation and change. Innovation and change is so important in today's business. You have to bring in new product. You have to take into account the requirement of the customer and address your product. And you'll find that for example, Fair and Lovely cream, Fair and Lovely, such popular. People made so much of money, the owners of Fair and Lovely, because in Bangladesh, for some reason, your color of your skin is very important, particularly amongst people who are less educated. And Martin Luther King, in his famous speech, what is that? In his famous speech, the name of the speech was. I'll come back to one of the sentences in that speech is, "Oh, I have a dream," was the name of this speech. And in fact, Washington DC. There is a place called Mall in Washington DC, where starting from the Capitol Hill, you have all the memorials: the Washington Memorial, the Jefferson Memorial, Lincoln Memorial. Now you have the Martin Luther King Memorial. In the Lincoln Memorial, in the stairs, Shiri of Lincoln Memorial, when I was about to enter the building, I saw a large group of people standing in a particular place in the staircase, and they were trying to take a photograph. And I was very curious to know what is there. So I went up to the stairs in that particular place, and on the stair there was a circle engraved and written that this is where Martin Luther King gave his "I Have a Dream" speech. If you have seen, my favorite movie, I love watching movies. I have so many favorite movies, but my most favorite movie in English Hollywood movie is Forrest Gump. I don't know if you have seen Forrest Gump. In Hindi, it is Three Idiots, and animated movies Kung Fu Panda 1. But I love many other movies. And if you have seen, anybody has seen Forrest Gump here?
Yes, sir.
Anybody who has seen?
Yes, sir, I've seen.
If you
Yes, sir.
remember, if you remember in Forrest Gump, there was a rally going on, and people
Sir, your
were
network.
speaking against the war in Vietnam. And can you hear me?
Yes, sir, now
Now,
we can
yes,
hear
sir. Now.
Okay, I said that there was a scene in Forrest Gump where there was a big rally going on, and they were speaking against the Vietnam War. And Forrest Gump, as Forrest Gump started speaking, the microphone got disconnected. But his girlfriend, what was her name? Saw her from a distance, and
Jenny.
she started walking
Her name was Jenny.
on. Yes, yeah. Jenny saw, heard Forrest Gump, and they were disconnected for many years. And she came into the water fountain, and she was walking. So that is the Lincoln Memorial, and that is the place where Martin Luther King stood and gave that speech. And one of the sentences in his speech is, "I dream of the day when my children will not be judged by the color of their skin, but the strength of their character." So this Fair and Lovely, took this advantage and made a huge business. And recently, they are saying that they come with these funny ads. Now they're saying that it will give you an HD glow. I don't even understand what is an HD glow. And they said that from this dark to this, you become fair. All. And the biggest marketing success in Bangladesh is once a soap started saying that our soap is a halal soap, taking advantage of our religious belief. And whenever this came on TV, people started guessing, we don't eat soap, how can this be halal? And they were right, because some soaps used to use animal fat. And even if it is the fat of a cow, if this cow is not slaughtered by saying Allahu Akbar, its fat does not become halal. So any soap that you produce using that oil is not supposed to be halal. And this, I think it was, which company was that? It was, anyway, they made a lot of money just by selling the fact that they are now, that day I was seeing another toothpaste who was advertising, and it was saying that halal toothpaste. So innovation and change is very important, and OB will inspire you to be innovative. And if you're not innovative, in Western world, you talk about Facebook, you talk about Google, big companies are owned by young people who are innovative in nature, and older people are working under them. That is how important innovation is. Emergence of e-organization, e-commerce, I can't re-emphasize how important this is. Particularly, we have understood its importance during this pandemic, where business, anything electronical is becoming successful. Improving ethical behavior. Ethics is, when I went to perform Hajj in 2009, I used to see that 24-wheeler, 18-wheeler, big trucks are standing beside the road, hood open, and people are throwing food and water to the Hajis, to the pilgrims, free of cost. The business people of Saudi Arabia, they wait throughout the day for two events. One is Ramadan and one is Hajj. The business people waits throughout the year, so that during these two periods they can distribute free food and water and other facilities to the Hajis. Unfortunately, the business people of Bangladesh also waits for the month of Ramadan, but the purpose is totally different. In the month of Ramadan, they want to herd goods. They want to, raise the price of essential commodities necessary for the Ramadan and make a profit, a whole year's profit in 1 month. That is how ethically different we are. Once there was a bridge being constructed in one of the countries, Scandinavian countries. I don't remember if it's Norway or Sweden. They were connecting an island with the mainland, and it was a 18-20 kilometer long bridge. And in one of the under constructed pillar of that bridge, a pair of white dove, Shada Ghugu Pakhi, nested, and it laid 2 eggs. And the animal right and the Greenpeace people came to know this event. And they stopped construction of that bridge for 19 days. Why? So that this dove, pair of dove can hatch the egg and the little chicklings, the birds can fly away. Till that time, the construction work was stopped. And if construction work is stopped, people still need to be paid. So millions and billions of dollars worth of construction equipment laid idle. Hundreds of people sat idle without a job being paid. This company incurred millions of dollars for the break that they had that was enforced into them just to allow these 2 birds to hatch their eggs. So this is how ethical business is. In the Western world, conscious customers are ready to pay a higher price for a product produced by a company which is ethical in nature. But unfortunately, of course, there are ethical business in Bangladesh also, but many businesses are not. You don't really know what you're eating, what is mixed there. They're saying it's a fruit juice, but actually whether it's a fruit juice or a vegetable juice, you don't really know. Improving customer service, very important. Customers are the most important stakeholder of any company. Companies will have 5, 10, 20 stakeholders. BRAC University, it has the faculty members, it has the administrative staffs, it has the accountants, it has the IT people, it has the security guards, it has the cleaning individuals, government, banks, media, so many stakeholders, and the students. But students are the most important. Students are the only stakeholder which pays back to BRAC University. Other stakeholders, BRAC University has to pay. Customers are the only stakeholder which pays to the company, and the company has to pay. With that money, company has to pay the other stakeholders and make a profit. So that is how important customers are. And if the customers are not happy with the service or with the product, this company will fail, sure to fail. Helping employees balance work-life conflict, that's another success of organizational behavior. Work and money is not everything in life. We have our lives, we have our family, we have our parents, we have our children, we have our religion, we have our own life. You must balance between the. We want you to work hard. In the Western world, they work very hard for 5 days, and they also enjoy very hard for 2 days. Bangladesh, we neither work hard, we neither know how to enjoy. It's when we are supposed to work, we try to enjoy a little bit, and when it's time for us to enjoy, we try to work a little bit. So this balance is only possible through organizational behavior. Flattening world is a very important terminology. It's a new terminology. Flattening world, this world is round, but flattening world means in this global condition, competition is open to all. Anybody can compete. Anybody is welcome to compete, and there will be a lot of competition. And no company will be given advantage. If you producing good quality product with lesser price, customers will buy them. And you cannot hide information from customers from now. Information is so much available. You cannot baffle customers now. You cannot bluff customers now. Previously, customers did not have access to internet. They did not have information. They went to buy a product and you could say that, okay, it costs 10,000 taka. But something which is 5,000 taka, if you tell a customer it's 10,000 taka, either they'll slap you or they'll move out from the store and never go back to your store. Because customers are very aware now. They have all the information. If I want to buy a car, before I go to the showroom, I'll do my research. I'll try to understand what are the models available, what facilities it has, what can be the price, etc., etc. So in this flattened world where competition is open to all, you really need to be an expert in OB to be able to survive and compete in this competitive world. And these are the factors of affecting organizational behavior. People, the most important factor, because individuals and groups of people are different. There are large groups of people, some small groups of people. There will be formal group of people, different sections, different departments, etc., etc. There may be many informal groups, Kumilla Shomiti, Noakhali Shomiti, Siret Shomiti, Oi, and Mymensingh Shomiti, and Brack University X Association, etc., etc. These are all, and these informal organizations are also very influential at times. And people, you'll be working with people coming from different educational background, different cultural background, different eating background, etc., etc. So very important factor is people affecting organization structure. What type of organization it is. Bangladesh Army is a very formal organization. We have a very formal system. There are organizations, we address our seniors, sir, in every sentence that we say. In many organizations, it's very informal. In the army, we wear a uniform. In a corporate office, you may wear, you may be, it may be a must to wear a suit and a tie, close collar. There is an organization where you can wear anything that you want. In other organization, you can call bhai or brother to your boss, or you can, in some organization, you call them by name. In America, my children call their father by name. Now, if my son comes and calls me Munir, I'll probably slap him and stop his allowance or things like that. So that is, we're not used to that culture. So structure is the type of organization it is, whether it's head heavy or it's a pyramid, what is the, command structure, things like that. Technology is very important. It changes everything. It brings people together. Yesterday I had a meeting with certain individuals, and I think people from at least 10 countries joined. And I was sitting in my office and having that VTC, which was unthinkable 50 years back. And can you imagine people coming from 10 countries to attend a meeting, how expensive it would be, how much time it would require. And you have VTC and you can sit in your own office and discuss whatever you want. Environment is also an important, factor that affects organizational behavior. Type of environment that exists, the location and the country where the business, how expanded the business is, how large it is. Is it only in Dhaka, or is it in the major cities of Dhaka, or throughout the country, or do you have offices abroad? What is the weather condition there? If you're selling beverage like energy drink or Coca-Cola or Pepsi, I'm sure in Bangladesh the sale is more during summer compared to winter, because maybe sale of coffee and tea may be more during winter, because you want to drink a hot beverage, not a cold beverage. For example, Fair and Lovely. Fair and Lovely is very successful in Bangladesh. Africa is not successful because I think they love their color, and definitely Fair and Lovely will not be successful in Europe or in Scandinavia. There may be unfair and what black and lovely would be more, because there people sleep or lie down beside the beach, try to get a tan, try to become darker, and you don't know how painful it is, and they are spending so much of time trying to become more dark. And here we are buying tube after tube of Fair and Lovely to become fairer. So environment also impacts organizational behavior. Um, there are three levels of management: first level, middle level, and top level. First level is initial level, middle level is branch managers of banks, top level is board of directors, president, vice president, CEO, etc., etc. So and in this three level of management, you see the four functions that a manager is supposed to conduct. At the first level, you spend more time in leading, less time in planning. But when you go become a middle level manager, your time spent for leading reduces, but time spent in organizing and planning increases. And when you're top level manager, you spend more time in planning and less time in leading. And so time spent in different four functions also varies depending on which level of manager you are. Ladies and gentlemen, let's have a break of 15 minutes. because talking is very exhaustive. It's like running a mile test. So I need to give. Otherwise, I'm not feeling very well. I'm suffering from a cold for last, of course, not coronavirus. Alhamdulillah, simple cold for last few days. My throat is a bit sore. My voice is sweeter than how what I sound now. So I'll take a break of 15 minutes just to give some respite, and we'll come back. Let's come back at 9:30, and then we'll finish the chapter. My time is 3 hours. Our starting was late today, and subsequently we'll allow Sakia to open the lecture, the Google Meet classroom in the similar fashion, so that we can start immediately. So let's have a break, and we'll come back at 9:30. Thank you.
Okay, sir.
Okay, sir.
Okay, sir.
Okay, sir.
Okay, welcome back. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. We can.
Somebody to respond? Okay. Okay. Nature of people. People are different from each other. Um, um, Individual difference, law of individual difference, as I said repeatedly many a times since the starting of this lecture. We are different. Our perception is different. We view things differently. We interpret things differently. If you remember the story that a thief, after stealing throughout the night, he went to the pond. In one side of the pond, he was washing his hands and legs after stealing, and he himself on the other side of the pond. And the thief was thinking that he's a bigger thief than me. On the other hand, the other person was actually doing ablution, getting ready for the morning prayer. And he was looking at the thief and thinking that he is a better Muslim than me. He came to the pond before me and he's doing his ablution to prayer. So people, perceive things differently. People don't read things in the same way. A whole person is a very important aspect of nature of people, because whenever you have an employee, you have the whole person. If you're looking for a groom to get married, or if you're looking for a wife and you want a boy who is tall and handsome from a good family and good looking, handsome salary, you don't get everything. You have to balance, you have to sacrifice. And if you're looking for a wife, beautiful long hair, beautiful eyes, educated, good family, etc., etc. Things are um, so, but you have to take the package. We are, as human being, we are a package, and we just have to, just a minute, just a minute. Okay, I'm sorry for the interruption. Whole person. So you have an employee who is very physically fit and they're able to do any physical job, but maybe his mental faculty is not that very sharp. So you try to give that individual things which are more physical in nature. You have an individual who is physically very weak, but who is very good in mathematics. So you give that individual assignments related to, mental faculty, maths and calculations, and don't give that individual any physical activities. We hire people or employ people as a whole human being, and none of us are angels, and except our Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, we all have our values and vices, and we should try to exploit, utilize our qualities, and try to hide our, vices, the disqualification that we have. And you as manager also, you have to know your employees well. You have to know what is their strength and what is their weakness. Try to employ them where they are able to use their strength. Desire for involvement, that's a common human tendency. We want to be involved, we want to get involved, and we feel happy and honored to get involved. It's not a matter of getting money. When I was growing old, I'm the eldest son of my parents. And when I became 14, 15, my father started asking my opinion, what do you think? And I used to feel very proud that my father is taking my opinion. My opinion matters. And I was thinking that I'm growing up. My value, my opinion matters to my parents now. That is how human nature goes. We want to get involved. We have that inner desire to get involved in everything that is happening in and around us. A value of a person is how much a person is worth. If you're selling a cow, the value of a cow will depend on how much of meat that cow will be able to give, or how much of milk that cow is able to produce. But when you talk about human being, the value of a human being will depend on what qualities that individual has and what type of job that individual is assigned to perform. Now, if you go to a mosque or a church, the father of the church or the imam of the mosque, he is the most valuable person in the mosque because probably he knows about Islam or Christian language more than anybody else in that hall. So from that perspective, he is the most valuable person there. If you go to the courthouse or Supreme Court, the lawyer, the justice are the most valuable person there. If you go to the university, the teachers are the most valuable person there. Now, if you go to the hospital, the doctor, if you're sick and you're very bad, to you the most valuable person is the doctor. The most beautiful heroine of Hollywood or the best engineer of Bangladesh will have no value to you. To you, that at that moment, a doctor would be the most valuable person to you. So, value of a person will depend on the necessity. Will also depend on what type of employment that individual is undergoing. Now, if in your office you may find an individual who is only degree pass, bachelor's degree pass, and he's a PhD holder or a master's holder who are getting only $100,000 a month, because maybe that individual who is a bachelor's degree holder maybe has been serving in that organization for last 20 years and has proven to be very honest, very sincere, very dependable. And to the owner, that individual is a very valuable individual. That's why he's being paid so much of salary. So value of a person will depend on many aspects. Motivated behavior, people's behavior will change through motivation. The way you motivate your employees. In the battlefield, in the army, we motivate our soldiers to go and attack the enemy. And there are possibilities that many will get injured, many will die. But the motivation is so strong that they don't really care for their life. They only care to become victorious, to defeat the enemy. That is how strong a motivation is. And you as manager, you have to also motivate your employees in a fashion that they become fully dedicated and they give their best to improve the quality and productivity and reach the goal of the company. Human dignity, we all have our dignity, and this dignity has no relationship with our status. It has no relationship with our background, our education. Even the lowest paid employee of BRAC University, he may be a cleaner or he may be a person in his family. He is the provider of his family. And because he is a cleaner, his children can go to school. To his children, he is a god, he is a hero. So every individual have their dignity, and you as manager, you have no right to hurt their feelings. You have the right to scold them. You have the right to rectify them. You have the right to punish them if they have done something wrong. But but you don't have the right to humiliate anyone. I, being a very senior officer, I'm very particular that I don't say something which actually hurts the feelings of an individual. You can say harsh things, but you should use a language which does not really go inside, does not hurt or affect the dignity of an individual, because every human being have their own dignity and you must honor that. So this is the nature of people, and this will definitely come in the exam where you may be told to explain any one or two or three or maybe entire list of things mentioned in the nature of people, and you have to explain it with adequate examples. A nature of organization also has certain nature. The social system that is being followed in an organization, is it very formal, is it very informal? What is the language that is being used in that organization? What is the decor? Like if you go to a travel agency which handles pilgrimage, Hajj and Umrah, in that office you'll find the photograph of Kaaba Sharif and Masjid Nabawi and people praying, because it goes with that individual. If you go to a ad firm, you'll find photographs of models, different ads that they have created. You'll see the photograph there. If you go to a sports store, you'll find picture of Muhammad Ali and Messi and Ronaldo and other players photograph of there. So each organization has its social system, and one is cannot be compared with other. Each company has its own social system. Mutuality of interest is very important, because an organization has interest with the customers, and the customers also has interest with the company. It's a give and take relationship. The company must give importance to the customers, and there are people in USA particularly who never drinks anything besides Coca-Cola. They don't even drink water. They love Coca-Cola so much. There are people who, McDonald's is a very popular fast food chain. Although we don't have it in Bangladesh, we have Burger King only, and Big Mac is their flagship product. In Burger King, their flagship product is Whopper burger, and in McDonald's it is Big Mac. And there are individuals who never eats anything besides Big Mac. That is how much of loyalty they have for that particular company. That is what is mutuality of interest. Forcing or influencing the customers to love your company, and in return you give something back. It's a give and take relationship. And ethical standards, it varies. Bangladesh, this momentum is this philosophy is getting momentum in Bangladesh. We want business to be ethics. We want the customers to be informed about the ingredients used to produce a particular product, particularly if it's a food product or a beverage, and they must be ethical in doing their business. Business is legal. You're supposed to do business. You're supposed to make profit, and people are supposed to live out of that. But it does not mean that you cheat and you bluff your customers. So that much of an so the state of ethical standard also dictates the nature of that particular organization. Moral intelligence, is the ability to differentiate right from wrong, and it's very important in the corporate world, in the management world. There are certain key elements of moral intelligence. Number one is integrity. Integrity is a bigger word of honesty. Acting consistently with one's value. It's a very important value that a human being. Responsibility, you have to accept accountability and admit your own mistakes. A good manager always takes responsibility of the failure and gives credit of the success to their employees. Another story about Mr. Abul Kalam Azad, who was the president of India. He expired few months, years back. I'm sure you have heard of him, Abul Kalam Azad. He was actually a aeronautical engineer, and when India was launching its first satellite into space, he was the project manager of that particular project. And
and he had a boss. His boss, I just forgot his name. His boss was the the chairman of the aeronautical program of India. And Abul Kalam was Azad, a young scientist, was responsible for that satellite project itself. And India was scheduled to launch its first satellite. A date was fixed, and all the journalists from all over India and the global news media was invited to witness the launch. Thousands of journalists gathered in the launch site. But space science is very technical. For very small reason, they don't want to take any risk. Launches can be delayed. So the launch could not take place on that scheduled time and date. And Abul Kalam Azad became very afraid because he was supposed to address the press after the launch. So he ran to his boss and told his boss, "Sir, the launch could not take place. All the journalists are waiting. What should I tell them?" And the boss said that you don't have to tell them anything. I'll go and talk to the press. So his boss went to the press room and he told the waiting journalists that space science is very technical. This is the first launch plan by India. We don't want anything to go wrong. There was some problem in the some technical problem. Hopefully we'll conduct this launch after a week or so. We are sorry that it could not be done today. We are sorry that you came all the way. Hopefully we'll invite you next time. Please come and join. And the journalist left. And 1 week later, again the launch was scheduled, and all the journalists came, and that time the launch was successfully launched. And Abul Kalam Azad ran to his boss again and said that, "Sir, the launch is successful. The media is waiting. Please come and brief the media." And the boss told him that, "No, this time I'll not brief the media. You'll go and brief the media because your launch is a success. You should take the pride to brief the media." That is what leadership should be. You should take the responsibility of particularly the failure and be ensure that the credit goes to your employees, because if you give credit to your employees, you also get credit for that. That is how a leader should act, a manager should act. Compassion, very important. We are not robot. Everything cannot be done by the rule. Anybody has seen the movie Terminal? Tom Hanks and Catherine Jones. Terminal. Anybody? Please tell me somebody has seen this movie. Another one of my favorite movies. Terminal, where Tom Hanks flies into New York from some country, and the war begins in that country, and he cannot go out of the airport. He's
Yes,
kept
sir.
in the
I saw the movie, sir.
terminal. Yeah, terminal. And the manager of New York airport was a robot. He did not have any compassion. There was an individual who wanted to take some medicine for his father, and they stopped him, and he started crying. And Tom Hanks went and talked in his language and said that this is actually a medicine for goat. And if it is animal medicine, you can take it out of New York City. But if it is human medicine, you need proper documents. So, compassion is very important for managers and leaders to have. You must, I have a driver. I have 2 cars, and I have a specific driver. But sometimes the driver goes on leave. Some other soldier comes and drives. And whenever I sit in the vehicle and I see that the driver has changed, the first thing I do, I ask him his name, and I ask a few questions. Where are you from? Are you married? How old are your children? How is the health of your parents? Are they alive? 2 3 minutes, 5 6 questions. And why I do it? Because my driver, my life is in his hand, and I want to establish this relationship with him, that I care about him. I have the time to know about him. And asking a 5 6 question creates that bondage between me and the driver. If I go to a public meeting, if you go to a public meeting and the Mohammed president of Bangladesh comes and says, "Yes, Sakia, how are you?" or "Anha, how are you?" calls you by your name. Won't you feel good? Won't you feel proud? The president knows my name. This
Yes.
is what is compassion. You as leader, if somebody is late in office, you ask what happened, and he says that, "Sir, my child fell down from his bed and he bumped, the baby bumped his head and started vomiting. I had to take him to the hospital to treat him." And he said that, "I don't want to listen to all this. You're 2 hours late and I'll deduct your salary by 2000 taka next month." That is not a compassion. You are the manager, you have to ensure that everybody comes to office in time, but he was absent for a very human reason, and you have to take that into consideration as a manager. But if somebody is repeatedly late without any silly cause, you must be very strict, you must punish them and ensure that he doesn't repeat. So you have to balance strictness and compassion, and at the end of the day, we are human beings. Forgiveness, in all religion, it's a great value. You have to learn the habit of forgiving. You have to learn, because if you don't forgive, it keeps on burning inside you, and nobody cares whether you have forgiven or not. It only hurts you, it doesn't hurt anyone else. Recognizing that others will make mistake and accepting them. We are human beings, we are likely to make mistakes. As long as it was innocent mistake, as long as it was done for the first time, you can overlook it. If somebody has done it intentionally, of course that individual should be punished. But general habit of forgiveness. But again, forgiveness is not weakness. Your employees must not feel that you're weak, that is why you're forgiving. You only forgive in cases which can be forgiven. Otherwise, you have to take action against that. These are the basic approaches to organizational behavior. Human resource supportive approach. Some companies, organizations follows this approach. They take the responsibility to build you up for senior management. They will sponsor your education. They'll send you to different seminars. They'll send you to do different courses so that you're equipped with the knowledge and experience to take greater responsibility. Our armed forces is a human resource supportive environment. In the last 30 years of my service, I spent 7-8 years in training. I did National Defense Course, NDC they call it. It's a 1-year course. I did Staff College in Bangladesh 1 year. I did the second Staff College in Turkey for 2 years, and I did so many training in between. They keep on teaching you, they keep on imparting the knowledge, Bangladesh Army, into officers at different levels so that we are capable of performing our job. Good companies also ensures that. In USA, education is very expensive. When I did my MBA, there were 3 categories of tuition fees. One is international students. For each credit, international students had to pay $1,200 per credit, and my MBA course was 48 credits. So can you understand? 48 credit into $1,200 per credit, in almost $55,000-$60,000 just for the tuition fee, and you have other expense. And then the second category was US citizen, but a non-state resident. You're not a resident of Florida state, but you are a US citizen. It's $800 per credit. And if you are an in-state resident, Florida resident, if you'll qualify to become an in-state resident if you have lived in a state for more than 3 years. But since I was working with US Armed Forces, I was given that status of in-state resident, so I had to pay only $450 per credit hour. So in my classroom, and all the MBA courses are in USA are in the evening, because in USA you cannot do an MBA unless you have minimum 5 years of working experience. In Bangladesh, just after completing BBA, you can start your MBA. It's not possible in USA or UK, not or Canada. You have to at least work for 5 years. So all the MBA students are working. So all the classes are in the evening, and almost 100% of the students in MBA course, when I talk to them, they said that their organization is paying for their tuition fee. Of course, there are certain conditions. If they pay for the master MBA degree, after they complete, they have to work at least more 5 years in that company, and other conditions are there. But these companies will build you up. They will impart and invest in you. That is what is human resource supportive approach. Contingency approach of management is, you have to think of alternative. If I cannot do this, if plan A does not work, I'll do plan B, then or I'll go to plan C. So as per organizational behavior is concerned, you must also have different alternatives. You must have also different contingencies. If one fails, you can implement the second. Some companies follow this result oriented approach. How much input you're giving and how much output you're giving. I don't believe that this is a very positive approach some companies follow. You will be hired and you'll be paid 100,000 taka per month, and the company will calculate how much you have paid back to the company. Has the profit of the company increased by 200,000 taka? Because they're paying 100,000 taka to you, so they need to have some profit. So this input output business always does not work. At times, you may not be able to give the input, but in other times you may be able to give much more than what is expected. Total quality management, TQM, very popular concept nowadays. I can talk hours on this. There are certain techniques through total quality management. You have to create higher customer satisfaction. How? By listening. You have to listen to your customers, and this listening can be done in many ways. Different, forms can be distributed. In USA, you'll get a lot of junk mail, one page statistics where you say yes, no, you answer. And if you reply to them, they'll pay you some incentive. They'll say the next time you come, you get a 50% discount on our product, things like that. So, there are, so you have to listen to the customer. Partnership with supplies. It's very important in total quality management. If you don't get good quality raw material, you cannot produce good quality product. If you don't get supplies, raw material, cheap raw material, you cannot produce cheaper goods. And this relationship is very important. Goodyear Tire is a very famous tire company. And when I went for my UN mission in Liberia, I have seen miles and miles and miles after rubber gardens, hundreds of miles of rubber garden. And I came to know that USA took these rubber gardens, this land on lease from Liberia for 1 cent, 1 penny per acre of land for 99 years. That is how cheap it is. And why? Because Goodyear produces the best quality tires, and they said that if I buy rubber from a vendor or supplier, that supplier will take some profit. So the cost of the rubber will go up, so the cost of the tire will go up. So if we own our own garden, we can produce our own rubber. We get the best quality rubber with the lowest possible price, so that we can sell the tire with lesser price. So this is what is partnership with supplies. When I was in Liberia, it was war was going on, 2005-6. But even in the middle of the war, when I landed in the airport and I was going to my accommodation, I saw a big building being constructed. It's bigger than the parliament building of Liberia. And I said, what is this building? And my driver told that this is the newly built under construction Chinese embassy. And in remote areas, Africa has a lot of mineral resources, copper, iron, and things like that. So in the middle of all this war, we could see that Chinese miners are mining these mines, and they're importing this iron, copper from Liberia, because they know that during wartime they can get the minerals 1/3 of the price, and if they waited for the war to be over and peace to prevail, the price of these minerals will go up. So that is how important raw material is. Continuous improvement in operational method, how to produce better good with less of effort. Ford is the first company. Ford produces vehicle, US. Henry Ford was the owner. And Ford is the first company which introduced the workstation. Previously, a single car is to be produced by a group of people. And this group of people is to produce the tire, is to produce the engine, is to produce the chassis, the interior seats, is to paint it, see the quality, and it is to take a long time to produce a car. And the price of the car was so high, it was beyond the common people. And Henry Ford introduced the station system in the factory, that one group of people will only produce the tires. One group of people will only produce the chassis. One group of people will only paint the car. So if somebody paints a car the first time, it will take 2 hours. The second time, it will take 1 hour, 50 minutes. And if he does it 100 times, 1,000 times, he'll be able to paint the car in half an hour or maybe 20 minutes. And the quality of the work will also improve, because if you keep on doing the same thing, you start improving. If you cook and with experience, your food becomes more and more delicious. That's why my grandmother is the best cook. My mother is the second best cook. My wife is not around. She's the third best cook, although I said that she's the best cook nowadays. So the more you cook, the better you get. So that is what is continuous improvement operational method. and you try to improve upon the quality and you try to reduce the cost of producing. Involving employees in team-based system, team always works. Individual contribution to a team contribution, and a teamwork is a integral part of total quality management system. Maybe if I have time later, I'll talk a little more on this. I'll just cover 1-2 more slides and then we'll finish for today, and I'll cover the rest of the remaining slides in the next class. Now, this is the formula okay, I'll not also cover this slide. Let's forget it. I'll talk about the rest of the slides in the next class. So, ladies and gentlemen, we'll end the class today. My throat is getting more painful. I'll email the PowerPoint presentations to you just after I finish talking to you, so that you can. I hope you have noted whatever I have said. Who has recorded this class? Sakya, is she here?
Yes. Yes, sir.
Okay. তুমি আমাকে তোমার what you'll do is you have my email address, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
তুমি এই রেকর্ডটা আমাকে পার্সোনালি আগে সেন্ড করবে। আমি একটু ভিডিওটা দেখে নিব, দেখে
Yes.
নেওয়ার পরে if I say okay, then you will share it with the rest of the students.
Super, sir.
ঠিক আছে? তুমি আজকে
Sir, I don't have all of their emails, so I will send it to the seer. Is that okay?
send it where?
To the captain.
Yeah, you can send it to captain, but আমি যে ইমেল করেছি ওটাতে কিন্তু সবার অ্যাড্রেস ছিল।
Sir,
তুমি ওই অ্যাড্রেসে সবার কাছে পাঠিয়ে দিলে। মানে
মেলটা পাইনি বিকজ আমি হচ্ছে এনরোল করেছি পরে, সো আমি আপনার মেলটা কিন্তু
আচ্ছা।
আজকে পাইনি। আমি একটা ফ্রেন্ডের থেকে ক্লাস লিংকটা নিয়ে জয়েন করেছি।
ওকে, তুমি আনহার কাছে তাহলে পাঠিয়ে দাও, মানে এখন না, প্রথমে ইউ সেন্ড ইট টু মি, লেট মি সি ইট, এন্ড when I give you the green signal and you send it to আনহা। ঠিক আছে, ঠিক আছে। আরেকটা মেয়ে ভলান্টিয়ার করেছে কি, সিলভিয়া জানি নাম। হ্যাঁ আনহা বলো।
Sir, yeah, I didn't get the box enrollment link yet. না আমি অ্যাক্সেস করতে পারছি না। আপনি কি এটা একটু শেয়ার করতে পারবেন প্লিজ?
কি শেয়ার করব?
স্যার বাক্সের এনরোলমেন্টের লিংকটা।
এটা আমাকে একটু আই এম নট ভেরি আইটি শ্যাভি, আমাকে এটা শিখতে হবে। কি শেয়ার করতে হবে আমি বুঝতেছি না, আমি দেখি একটু ইনভেস্টিগেট করে তারপরে আমি শেয়ার করব। আপাতত তুমি ওই যে সাকে যখন ভিডিওটা আমাকে ইমেলে পাঠাবে, আমি এটা অ্যাপ্রুভ করার পরে আমি তোমার কাছে পাঠাবো, তুমি এটা সবার কাছে শেয়ার করো, অথবা আমি দিয়ে দিব সবার কাছে ইমেল করে।
ওকে স্যার,
ঠিক আছে? আর তুমি আমার নাম্বারটা সেভ করে রাখো।
ইয়েস স্যার, আমি আপনাকে হোয়াটসঅ্যাপ গ্রুপে অ্যাড করেছি।
হ্যাঁ, হোয়াটসঅ্যাপ গ্রুপে অ্যাড করো, প্লাস তোমার ফোনে সেভ করে রাখবা।
জি জি করেছি। আর স্যার একটা কথা ছিল যে একটা স্টুডেন্ট ও ক্লাসটা অ্যাটেন্ড করতে পারেনি, আপনাকে মেইল করেছে, সো আপনি একটু মেইলটা চেক করেন স্যার। এটা হচ্ছে
কেন পারে নাই কেন?
স্যার ওর একজন মারা গিয়েছে, সো গ্রামে যাচ্ছে। এটা হচ্ছে আপনার এমডি সাইফুর রহমান খান।
ঠিক আছে, অসুবিধা না, ও তো রেকর্ডটা পেয়ে যাবে, বাট ক্লাসে থাকলেই বেটার আর কি। ঠিক আছে, আমি আচ্ছা। আর I have only 30 students. There are supposed to be 41 students in this class. বাকি 7-8 জন নাই কেন আমি জানি না। তুমি হোয়াটসঅ্যাপ গ্রুপে কয়জনকে অ্যাড করতে পেরেছো?
স্যার ইটস 30, আপনাকে আর আমাকে সহ 30 জন আছে।
30 জন। So some of the students who have joined this class are not also included in the WhatsApp group. তুমি আস্তে আস্তে হোয়াটসঅ্যাপ গ্রুপে সবাইকে অ্যাড করে ফেলো, আর সাবসিকুয়েন্টলি উইল করসপন্ড অন দি হোয়াটসঅ্যাপ গ্রুপ। ঠিক আছে, ওকে। থ্যাংক ইউ ভেরি মাচ। আর কারো কিছু বলার আছে আমাকে? এনি কোয়েশ্চেন? এনিবডি হ্যাজ এনি কোয়েশ্চেন?
Yes, sir, how do we get?
হ্যাঁ, শিবকাত বলো।
স্যার আমরা ভিডিওটা কি স্যার কি বাক্সে পাবো? স্যার ভিডিও রেকর্ডেড ভিডিওটা
medium of instruction is English in this class. I don't know whether I'll be able to load it on Box, but I'll email it to you for sure. আমি বাক্সটা একটু ইনভেস্টিগেট করে দেন, I have to find out whether বাক্সে কিভাবে দেওয়া যায়, but I'll have you received my previous email?
Yes sir, I got it sir.
I'll email it to you. That's a assured way of getting.
Okay sir, thank you sir. Thank you so much.
Anybody else?
Yes sir.
Ashik.
Sir, this is Ashik for the Shravan sir. Sir, you told about the TQM, Total Quality Management. Sir, is it a part of supply chain?
It's a part of what?
Supply chain management.
It's a part of everything. It's a total quality management. It's a holistic approach, and you entire all the organs, all the systems functioning in an organization, including the supply chain, will be included in this. It's a very vast subject. আমি পরবর্তীতে সময় পেলে তোমাদেরকে আমি যতটুকু বলেছি that's enough for you to know for the time being.
Okay,
Ashik.
sir.
Okay.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Anything else? ফাতিমা তুমি কিছু বলবা? তোমার মাইক্রোফোনটা অন আছে দেখলাম।
স্যার আমরা কি মানে সবকিছু মানে ম্যাটেরিয়ালস গুলো কি আমরা বাক্স থেকে পাবো? মানে আমরা কি বাক্সে এনরোলমেন্ট বাক্সটা আপনি ইউজ করেন মেইনলি?
আমি প্রথম যে সেমিস্টার নিয়েছি তখন ইনক্লুড করেছি, ইউজ করেছি, এবং আমার সবগুলো পাওয়ার পয়েন্ট ওখানে আপলোড করা আছে। আমি একটু বাক্সটা একটু আজকে এই ক্লাসটা পরে একটু খুলে দেখবো এটাতে কি সমস্যা, আবার কি করতে হবে। ইফ রিকোয়ার্ড আইল টক টু দি আইটি পারসন এন্ড হোপফুলি বিফোর দি নেক্সট ক্লাস আইটি বাক্স উইল বি অ্যাক্টিভেটেড, বাট ফর দি টাইম বিং আমি তোমাদেরকে ইমেল করে পাঠাবো পাওয়ার পয়েন্ট।
ওকে স্যার, থ্যাংক ইউ স্যার।
Anybody else? Any other question? Very silent type of semester.
No, sir.
Nobody wants to talk. Okay, all the best. Take care. Be safe. Anybody has taken vaccine yet in this class?
No.
Not yet, sir.
No, sir. No, sir.
People are too young for vaccine.
Yes,
You
sir.
know,
I
me
have
and my-
taken it.
You have taken it? Me
Yes,
and my
sir.
wife have. Me and my wife, we took it, and my wife felt sick for 2-3 days. I did not have any effect, and I was feeling very happy that I'm still fine, no effect. And then I came to know that একটু effect হয় নাকি ভালো, তার মানে ভ্যাকসিন কাজ করছে। এখন আবার আমার মন খারাপ যে ভ্যাকসিনটা আমার কাজ করছে কি করছে না, I have all the doubt. But anyway, irrespective of whether you're vaccinated or not, be safe. Still use mask, wash your hand, and take all the precautions necessary.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, have a wonderful weekend, and hopefully I'll meet you again on Thursday. May Allah
Same
bless
to you,
us all.
sir. Thank you, sir.
Assalamu alaikum.
Thank you, sir.
Assalamualaikum, sir.
Assalamu alaikum, sir.
Assalamu